You are 42 years old, an aircraft engineer, 10 years designing bombers that changed warfare. You work for Martin Aircraft Company. You build things that fly. A man calls you into his office on a Tuesday, Glenn Martin himself. He does not explain why. He tells you to sit down and wait. You wait. The door opens and another man walks in. Brigadier General Billy Mitchell, hero of World War I, the man who proved airplanes could sink battleships. He sits across from you, looks at you for a long moment. "I want you to build me a car," he says. He slides a folder across the desk. Inside are drawings from a man named Paul Jarre. He worked on Zeppelins. He understood airflow. Mitchell explains he wants a car that cuts through the air like a plane. He wants it fast, 100 miles per hour. In 1928, that's insane. The workshop becomes your life. You studied Jarre's drawings obsessively. Shape matters more than power. The frame is wood, aircraft construction adapted for the ground, lightweight, strong. The body is aluminum, panels formed by hand riveted to the frame. The headlights are molded into the fenders, not bolted on. The rear wheels are completely enclosed by fender skirts. A full belly pan runs underneath, smooth as an aircraft fuselage. The engine is a Continental 4-cylinder, mounted in the rear, facing backward. The radiator is in the front. Air has to travel the entire length of the car before it can reach the engine. You know this is insane. You know it will cause problems. But it's the only way to get the shape Mitchell wants. The suspension is pure aircraft, no springs, elastic straps attached to shock absorbers. It works on planes, probably. The door, there's one, on the curb side only. Driver gets in first, slides across, like climbing into a cockpit. You stand back and look at what you've built. It's beautiful, alien, like nothing that has ever existed on four wheels. You have no idea if it will work. First test drive, you climb in through the single door. The interior is cramped, like a cockpit. Art Deco gauges, the steering wheel is small. The horn button is to your left, below the window. You don't know why you designed it that way. You turn the key, the engine fires up behind you. The whole car vibrates. You release the clutch. The car moves. The steering is fast, 1.3 turns lock to lock. You barely breathe and the car changes direction. It's like flying a fighter. You accelerate. The speedometer climbs, 40, 60, 80. The wind barely makes a sound. The shape cuts through like it was designed in a wind tunnel, because it was. You hit 90. The car is stable, solid. Then you notice the temperature gauge. It's climbing. You pull over, pop the rear cover. It takes 2 men to lift it off. Steam rises. The problem is obvious. Air comes in the front, hits the radiator, then has to travel the entire length of the car before it can exit. When the car is moving, it works, barely. When it's standing still, the air stops moving. Your solution is a fan mounted at the back. You calculate how much air you need to move. 24 blades. When it spins up, it sounds like an airplane taking off. It's ridiculous. Checking the oil requires 2 men and 15 minutes. The dipstick is buried. Billy Mitchell comes to see it. He walks around slowly, touching the aluminum panels. He gets in, sits behind the wheel. His hands rest from that tiny steering wheel. He doesn't say much. He never does. But you see his eyes, the way they move over the gauges, the upholstery, the shape of the windshield. He's remembering, being a general, being court-martialed, being told he was wrong. He looks at you. "Thank you," he says. He drives away. 1932, the National Automobile Show in New York. Your car sits on a platform under bright lights. The crowd is 3 deep. They've never seen anything like it. The car is 4 years old now. 3 prototypes exist. This one was built for Mitchell himself. 672 miles on the odometer. Each owner drove it a few times, then parked it. The handling is too weird. The engine overheats. Checking the oil requires a ceremony. But here, under the lights, none of that matters. It's beautiful. A man in a suit pushes through, asks questions. How fast? 107. How many doors? 1. Where's the engine? In the back. He asks if you'll build more. You tell him maybe, if there's interest. He nods, walks away. You never see him again. The Depression is in full swing. Nobody's investing in futuristic cars. Nobody's investing in anything. The Martin will never go into production. Mitchell died in 1936, heart attack. The obituary mentions the court-martial, the vindication. It does not mention the car. You wonder if he drove it much, if it meant anything to him. Probably not. Mitchell was not sentimental. He was the type to demand the impossible until someone built it. You built it. Decades pass, you get a call. A museum in Nashville has your car, the last surviving prototype. They want to know if you'll come see it. You go. The museum is quiet. You walk past cars that would make any collector weep. You don't see them, you're looking for something else. And there it is, under lights, preserved, perfect, the Martin Aerodynamic. You walk around it slowly. The aluminum panels are still smooth, the 24-blade fan's still there, the single door, the cramped interior, the Art Deco gauges, 672 miles on the odometer. A docent approaches, sees you staring. Crazy, right? Aircraft engineers built it. Drives like a plane too. Fast steering, weird suspension, overheats if you look at it wrong. You nod. Only 3 ever built. This is the last one. Billy Mitchell's personal car. He loved it apparently. Didn't drive with much, but he loved it. He loved it. You stand there for a long time. The car was right about so many things. Aerodynamics, rear engines, lightweight construction, enclosed wheels. It predicted everything that came after. It was just 40 years too early. And it had problems, real problems. Overheating, weird handling, impossible maintenance. The aircraft engineers knew how to build planes. They didn't know how to build cars. But maybe that's enough. Maybe a car doesn't need to succeed. Maybe it just needs to exist, to prove something was possible. This car waited 90 years. It's still waiting. That was the 1928 Martin Aerodynamic, built by aircraft engineers, designed for a court-martial hero. 3 prototypes, 1 survivor, 672 miles total. They were right about aerodynamics. They were wrong about everything else. But they tried. If this one hit different, drop a comment and tell me which moment stayed with you. The 24-blade fan? The single door? The docent saying he loved it? Hit subscribe. See you on the road.